Hello Gemini, welcome to your weekly tarot reading here on Dove and Serpent Tarot. This is for the week of March 5th through March 11th. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. And if there's anything that you need me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know in the comments down below, all right? Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to use your own intuition, connect directly with each card, and, go beyond the details that just I'm providing, okay? Remember that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And look at that, we've got a Hanged Man to begin with. This is going to be quite interesting, okay? I think the Hanged Man played a prominent role in one of your recent readings, either the monthly or one of the recent weekly readings. But we're going to do the rest of our Dove and Serpent spread and see what we can learn about that Hanged Man energy this week, okay? We've got some good court cards, a lot of good cards today. A lot of nice cards. We're going to do our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card, and we are not going to look at that until the very end of the reading. Okay, so we're going to leave that right over here. We're not going to look at it, so you do have to stick around till the end of the reading. And hopefully that will, tie everything together, give us the confirmation that we're looking for right at the very end. Okay, so we've got some major arcana over here on the path of the Dove. A couple of court cards, some fire. On the path of the Serpent, we have some major arcana, some more fire, some earth court cards. So I see that we have a lot of fire, a lot of earth. We don't have a tremendous amount of water or air, okay? I think the water that we do have is this Hanged Man card. So that's kind of the central focus of the water energy. And I think probably of the whole reading is going to be centered really, literally and figuratively around that Hanged Man card, okay? And as far as the air goes, well, we have Mercury here at the end. That's kind of an airy card. Other than that, though, not a lot of air. So I think that one of the biggest challenges this week is going to be communication. Okay, it's going to be how we relate to other people, how we express ourselves. Because what I see happening really with this Hanged Man card is that there is a really... You're the kind of person that really dives deep into their emotions, okay? I think that you maybe typically find it difficult to let things go, okay? I think that you don't like to really act impulsively, but the interesting thing is down here we've got fire on both sides of the Hanged Man, right? We've got the Queen of Wands and we've got the Emperor on the other side. So it seems like a lot of fiery energy that's surrounding this water right now, okay? So I think there is a lot of pressure for you to act. Pressure, yes, maybe from outside influences, but I think just your own sense of urgency, right? But at the same time, you are spending time in your emotions, right? You're really trying to do a deep dive, kind of literally looks like the figure's diving into the water, to discover how you truly feel about this particular situation, which not sure if it involves a romantic interest. I don't think that it does. I feel like this is related either to a family situation or a work situation that feels like a family. Okay. But back to the Hanged Man. This is you trying to really see how things truly are, right? This is you trying to get a clear picture of how you feel. I think you're the type of person that is willing to make the difficult sacrifices if you really need to. But I think you don't do that without a lot of introspection, a lot of rumination, a lot of contemplation, okay? I feel like you're someone that really is very sensitive. I think you feel things very, very deeply. Okay, and because you are sensitive, because you feel things that deeply, you don't make hasty decisions, right? You like to take your time and really be sure of something before you take action. Okay, and then if you have to let go of something, sacrifice something that maybe you are very emotionally attached to, well, then you can do that because you've had the time, you've taken the time to kind of come to terms with that. Okay. But it's interesting that we see the fire on both sides of you this week, you know. So I feel like there's not a lot of time to really stay in this hanged man energy, this kind of, you know, this rumination, this introspection. You know, I feel like there is this sense of urgency around this situation, okay? And I think that you are kind of preparing yourself for a really big change, okay? That's what I'm kind of feeling with the hanged man. There could be an M named person here somewhere. I'm getting an M name, or the M sound as a first initial or something. This may be the place you work. This could be the family member. It could be the surname. But I feel like that name is involved in here somewhere. And this is what you kind of are deciding on. And again, I don't know if this is a work relationship, if this is a family relationship. It could be a romantic partner, though I'm not getting strong romantic vibes here. Okay. It feels to me like it's more, it feels family, but it feels work at the same time, right? That's why I say that it feels like it's a work thing, but they're like your family. It could literally be that you work with your family, okay? But I think you're very close with the people that you work with, and I think that's what's making this kind of this decision or this choice of, you know, action, this course of action that you're considering more difficult, okay? With the Hanged Man card, I feel like you're trying to almost correct a situation. I feel like you're kind of in this limbo, you're kind of in this uncomfortable position, and what you really want to do is try to see all angles of what's going on, right? So that you can make the best decision possible. And this is also you looking at and feeling the situation from all different angles, right? Not something that you just are going to react and take action on in kind of a hasty manner. You know what I mean? So you're a very thoughtful person. I think that you typically get your answers in, you know, like dream states or meditative states. So I kind of feel like you're meditating on this issue for a long time, right? And with these fiery pressures from both the past and the future, right? It's kind of like the situation is kind of surrounding you. And even if we look at the top and the bottom, it seems like there is a need for action. And there is also this Eight of Wands, which is showing the need for some swift action. But this card's a little bit different. We have these two figures before and kind of after the present situation. And I really think this is the pressure that's both coming from the people involved and from kind of your desired outcome. From kind of, I think what you know is the proper action, what you know needs to be done. But there is this hesitation because, you know, I think it's difficult for you because of this sensitivity. Because it's a situation, it's a group of people or a person or something that you're very attached to. They hold a place in your heart. You know, so I think that this is that little bit of hesitation. I think you are like this water energy. You're very adaptable to the situation, right? Like water. You can kind of adapt to the container that you're in. You can settle into things, pretty much any environment, nicely, relatively comfortably. You kind of settle just in wherever you fit, you know, like a bowl of water kind of thing, a container. But this is also the tricky thing because it puts you sometimes at a disadvantage. Your adaptability can sometimes put you at odds with yourself, really deep down and on a more spiritual level, right? Because it brings up the question, are you just adapting to the situation because that's kind of what you do, that's your nature, right? Or is this really what you are choosing to adapt to be a part of, right? Is adapting to this situation going against your true nature, going against like your true aspirations, your goals, right? Your will. So with that adaptation, is that really you sacrificing what you want in order to, settle into this, or to avoid any kind of upset, right? So just because we are able to adapt to just about any circumstances doesn't mean that we really should, right? Because if you can adapt to anything, what if you adapt to a very toxic situation? I mean, it's an admirable quality to be able to do that, but is that really the best thing for us, right? So I think that's a lot of your kind of dilemma. That's why we see this suspended kind of state with this Hanged Man. You're not ready to make a decision yet, but the pressure's mounting, I think pressure was a pretty big theme of your previous readings too. I'm pretty sure we had the Hanged Man, and I'm pretty sure it was still about this kind of pressure. So I kind of think that the decision now is it should be coming sooner rather than later, okay? I don't want to really stay with this Hanged Man too much. I think that we've kind of got the idea. I think that you are still kind of suspended in this Hanged Man state, but maybe through this other energy, and by the end of the reading, really with this Magician Mercury Magus card at the end, I feel like you're kind of making your decision, right? So I think we're going through all of this energy, and you're really, by the end, going to have a more clear idea of what you feel, what you want. You've explored every angle of this situation. Now, what is the situation? Okay, well, I think it's a work situation. Like I said, it feels like it's a tight-knit workplace, almost like a family, I see in the recent past this fire sign person that I think has been causing some issues in your life. Now that maybe this isn't a work thing, this could be a relative, right? There could be some overlap between work and your private life, okay? But I feel like this person's been causing some trouble. I feel like this person has just like always been on your case, right? It's like they say they love you, they're doing it for your best interest, they're looking out for you. But it's almost like a micromanaging. It's almost like a tough love kind of thing, but really just kind of out of hand, or uncalled for, or really not welcomed. It's like you don't really need this person looking over your shoulder, criticizing everything you do. But in their mind, it feels like they're doing it with love and compassion. They're trying to make you a better person. Well, that's not their job, really. I'm pretty sure you're an adult, and I don't think this person really has gotten your permission to guide you in this way, or to try to mold you in this way. But I feel like they have an opinion about everything. Do you know what I mean? And in their mind, they're doing it with love and compassion to try to help you, but I don't think you asked for their help. So this is creating an issue. It's, again, either in the workplace or in the family, or both. There could be that overlap. And, I feel like this is kind of putting you in a weird spot. Maybe you work with a family member. Maybe the two of you, are in the same department at a company or something. And it's causing this kind of almost like a hostile work environment, right? It's just uncomfortable to go there now. And I think you're entertaining this idea, I'm looking for the right word, you're entertaining this idea of just adapting and making the best of it, making it work, or doing something else, either confronting the person or leaving the situation altogether. But if this is a good job, or if this is a family, it's a little bit more difficult to leave, right? So there are other factors involved. But this person, maybe a fire sign person, I feel an older feminine energy, maybe not fire sign, maybe just that fiery aspect of their personality, right? The criticism, the kind of overbearing, micromanaging kind of energy, okay? That could be what we're experiencing as the fire in this particular card. I do want to go up here to the Hierophant card. I think this is a very wonderful energy for you. I think this is representing your intunement. I think you're very much you're very much in tune with this, this kind of like a spiritual guide, right? I think, like I said with the Hanged Man, I feel like you're someone who meditates on things, right? I feel like you're really trying to invoke this guidance from your own true self, higher self, God, Goddess, deity, universal mind, universal energy, your guardian angel, spirit guides. I feel like you're trying to get an answer from outside, which, you know, really from inside. But I think that you're kind of looking for this entity, this energy, this something to kind of come in and show you the right way to handle this. Okay? Because the Hierophant to me in this position is something that you're looking up to. It's at the top of the path of the dove. So I feel like you're kind of like, you know, you're asking for guidance here. And whether that comes from, you know, someplace inside of us or external to us, I don't think there's a difference between internal and external. I think we're all one energy, right? I mean, we don't need to get too mystical about it. This is almost like we are hoping to not make a decision ourselves. We're hoping that maybe the supervisor, the manager, the head of the family will see what's going on and they will intervene so that you don't have to. So this is like we're really hoping that something happens to relieve us of this burden, you know. Relieve us of the burden of making the decision, of choosing a course of action on our own, right? So this is looking for some outside help here. But we don't want to ask for it. We don't want to be responsible for it because we want to have that kind of plausible deniability, right? Like, oh, I never said anything. It didn't bother me. Sorry that we got separated or moved to different departments, or that, you know, they get, reprimanded, or something that you get moved to a different place. Something to alleviate this conflict, right? Now, the interesting thing is that I don't see a lot of cards that are talking about the conflict. The only really conflicting card we have is this Queen of Wands here in the recent past. So it could be that this was one incident that really had only happened the one time. You know what I mean? It could be that you're still holding on to how that felt and the kind of the anger or the confusion or the frustration about that one event. Because I don't see it in the future. I don't see it really anywhere else. You know, we don't see any fives of anything. We don't see any really other, like, kind of, you know, odd-numbered cards. There really aren't a lot of pip cards here anyway. It's major arcana and court cards all the way through. All the way through. So that's telling me that this Eight of Wands is really an important card. This is kind of the one choice in the matter that you've got to make. This is, I think, a very important card here, because you are this water energy in the middle, right? You're kind of holding on to this this feeling, whatever this event was, how it made you feel, etc. You've got fire all around you, and you're looking for this earth up top, this Hierophant, to kind of fix things, right? To get you out of this. It's almost like you're this water, and you're in this hot pot, this big boiling pot of water, right? And you're trying to get out of that. Something needs to come. You're expecting this Hierophant to just come and pull you out of that boiling pot of water, right? And the 8, this is kind of this is the fire underneath everything that's boiling the water, right? That's making this situation worse for you. It is slowly turning up the heat, right? And eventually you're going to have to get out of here. You're going to have to get out before you really get cooked, you know? So this is not only like the need for urgency, but I feel like these are some arrows that have already been released, you know? I think in the Rider-Waite deck, these are 8 javelins that are all going the same direction. So it's almost like you've already kind of, or maybe it's talking about this fire sign person, whoever the kind of, sort of villain is here. It could be that they have already fired the shot. They have already let loose their arrows or thrown that javelin. There's really no taking it back. Once it leaves your hand or leaves your bow, you've just got to hope and pray that it hits its target, right? You can't recall those arrows once they're fired, okay? So I think there's a lot of that going on right now. I think that you are hesitant to make this decision on your own or to take this action on your own because you know that once you make a decision and take an action, there's no going back. Once these arrows fly, you can't recall them, right? So you're stuck in this hanged man position, but meanwhile, the water's starting to boil. It's getting warmer in here. You're surrounded by all of this fire. And honestly, I think if you're the hanged man, not gender specific, you are in this water, right? Look at the overhead camera. If you're in this water, you are this hanged man figure, right? What I really think you are is this Knight of Discs, okay? I think that this is the figure, this is you in this pot of water that's starting to boil, okay? And what the Knight of Discs is really is taking this fire and using it in a practical way, okay? So I think really it's not about this Hierophant. This is some earth energy. It's not about this Hierophant, someone coming to save you from outside, right? This is you learning how to use this kind of boiling pot of water to cook a meal, right? How do you turn this predicament into the best opportunity? You can't wait too long. This Knight of Pentacles is on the horse, ready to go, right? The water's starting to heat up. How do you take this boiling pot of water and make the best meal you can with the ingredients that you have? Right? It's like an episode of Chopped. So turning this situation into an advantage, turning this challenge into an opportunity. Okay. So, depending if this is a family thing, if this is a work thing, how do we approach this situation where it's not just, tipping the pot of water over and spilling the hot water everywhere on everyone, causing a mess, causing burns and everything else. But then also not just staying in here ourselves until we're cooked. How do we use this to our advantage? Okay, and I don't know the details of the situation. I don't know what kind of company you work for. I don't know who this person is exactly or what the situation is exactly. But this is something for you to use your own ingenium to figure out. Right? How do you turn this to an advantage? And what I think is important here with the fire energy in the future is this Emperor energy. This is some fire energy, but now this is you kind of using that fiery energy. The Knight of Pentacles, this is the fiery aspect of the earth, right? So this kind of mundane, physical, earth reality situation that you're in, you've got to use the fire that's around you. You've got to use this heat, this pressure, this kind of boiling pot of water. You've got to use it. And this Emperor is the one that can harness this fire and use it to their advantage. Okay. Now, the advantage on the physical plane, I can't think of really any example other than, making a decision, taking an action, showing that you are a leader, right? Finding a way to kind of amicably resolve the situation, right? To show management or your supervisor or whatever that you're a problem solver, right? That you're not taking things personally and being vindictive, that you're trying to find the solution that's best for everyone, best for the company, that sort of thing. But then also on a spiritual level, this is really you standing up for yourself. This is you not just letting yourself be boiled in this pot of water, hoping that this Hierophant comes and pulls you out of it. But this is you standing up for yourself and doing the deep dive into your own emotions, your own feelings, your own soul, and then taking an action, not dwelling in this water for so long that we get cooked, right? But going down, finding what you need within, and then expressing it through this Emperor energy, which is really strong authority, right? And I think the problem that we're kind of considering here is this Emperor giving the order to let loose the arrows maybe too hastily, too quickly, too impulsively, because you can't call those arrows back. So be careful when when you fire the first shot, or when you you let loose those arrows. And I think that's the concern, is that our response will be disproportionate to the situation itself, that we might act too aggressively or with too much anger or force than what is needed. So we need to temper this Emperor energy. The Emperor has a really bad temper. The Emperor can very easily just kind of lose control and fire all the arrows at once, hit the button, everything just gone, So we have to be careful of that, and I think that is a good reason to have this water and this earth here, because this will temper that fire energy, right? This will temper that fire energy to, these two, fire and water, don't really get along too well. But these are both major arcana, so they almost have this nobility where even though they don't like each other, they're going to try to get along, right? And I think this fire is going to be the action that you need to get out of this pot of boiling water. And this water is going to be enough to kind of cool the temper of this Emperor down a little bit. So I think we've got a very kind of interesting situation going on this week. We're going to go to the path of the Serpent now. And again, I want to say, if there's anything that I can pray over, anything I can meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know in the comments below. I read every comment. I try to respond to as many as I can, but there's been a lot. So just trust me, I do read all of them. Okay. Now, with this path of the Serpent, we see more earth, more fire, and then we see some good stuff towards the end, right? So this now is the watery aspect of the earth, the Queen of Pentacles. So it's interesting that we have the Knight and the Queen, the fire and the water of earth. And then we've got the fire and the water, right, that we are kind of taking into the future, and we are pulling ourselves out of this pot of boiling water. Whatever this kind of difficult, intense situation is, we are finding a way to extricate ourselves from it, to take action, to turn it into an opportunity, right? And that's using the Emperor energy. It's also using your emotions, your compassion, the reality of who you are and what you feel, what you believe in, right? Your purpose. You're being true to yourself, right? And you're standing up for yourself. You're doing what's necessary. You're showing everyone, including yourself, that you can be a leader, that you have this confidence. So I think once this energy kind of flows, we're going to be really in this Queen of Pentacles state. You're going to be, for at least a brief moment, you're going to be very satisfied with yourself. You're going to think that you're pretty clever because you've gotten out of this situation in a way that is, benefits everybody, that makes you look good, feel good, and brings you the best kind of outcome or success that you can from this situation, right? Which I feel like is basically this hostile person. Whether this is a coworker, maybe a family member, I don't know. But the kind of hostile vibe that you get from this person. Now, I don't know if this is real, factual, if they are kind of bullying you or being this kind of overbearing, micromanaging, aggressive kind of person, or if that's just something that you're feeling that you're kind of making more out of than is really there. I don't know. But the point is that you are going to find the best outcome to this situation, and you're going to be pretty pleased with yourself, right? But don't linger in this feeling too much either, because the next card that we see is more of this fiery court card energy, the Prince of Wands now. I think that you may find that this situation that you're in is continually kind of I don't want to say hostile because that sounds pretty severe, but I feel like you are kind of at odds with everyone. And I wonder how much of that is you kind of being very sensitive to the vibes of other people, you know? Or if people really are kind of targeting you or bullying you or micromanaging, being a little aggressive, right? I think it's a mixture of both. Okay. And again, I don't know the details. I'm just the interpreter. I'm trying my best to associate each of these cards with your situation, but I really need you to connect with the images and the energies and use your intuition, you know? Fill in the details here. But I feel like the environment that you're in is one where you perceive a lot of these kinds of challenges or these aggressive kind of vibes from others, okay? And this is something that I think needs to be explored. And I think this is where you need to kind of cycle back to this Hanged Man. Put yourself back in that pot of boiling water and meditate on it. Pray over it, right? Send healing energy toward yourself and get to the bottom of this. Really, really get back in that pot of water now, right? And then start the cycle again, because I think that's the process of growth for you. That's how you are learning and coming to know yourself, right? Know thyself. That's what this work is all about. And I think this is a situation that's going to repeat. Okay. I think this is kind of maybe a karmic thing. I wonder if this is going to be an adjustment card, justice card, the mystery card over here. But I kind of don't think so, because it looks like we may be repeating this cycle a few times, right? Getting back into the pot. And getting back in these situations where we perceive this kind of fiery energy around us. And then learning how to deal with it. Learning to understand it and utilize it and progress. Right? To grow and evolve. I wonder this could be the death card too. That mystery card. So I think this is a cycle that needs to repeat. But I think what is coming through this is this Empress energy. This is, for one thing, it's the perfect counterpart to the Emperor, right? These two together, the assertiveness and the authority and the fire, is perfectly complemented by this more nurturing and fertile and loving and affectionate Empress energy, right? These are just two sides of the same coin, two ends of the same spectrum, okay? And I think that the Empress in this situation, this card's in the position of your fears, worries, and concerns, right? So it's almost as if you're kind of afraid to, and I don't like ever saying that, you know, one of my viewers is afraid of something, right? But like I tell my daughter, when we're scared, that is the best opportunity for us to be brave, right? When you're scared, that's when you get to be brave. And I think that's kind of what we're talking about here with the Empress energy. It's like the acceptance of maybe the reality that we are either kind of looking for this conflict, or we tend to repeat the same patterns. We do repeat this cycle of getting back in that boiling pot of water and then hoping and praying that someone gets us out of it. But I think the difference now is that you're doing so consciously. And instead of waiting for someone else to come and pull you out, like this Hierophant, you're pulling yourself out. You're turning this challenge into an opportunity, right? So the Empress here is talking about the real acceptance of that. The kind of, it's kind of a passive, watery energy, kind of like the Hanged Man, but with more affection, you know what I mean? With more compassion for yourself. And I think that this is in this position because your worry really is that you can't let people do this to you, right? It's almost like a self-defense kind of thing. It's almost like you don't want to be that doormat. You don't want to be passive. You don't want to stay in this pot of water and let these other people treat you this way. If this is a factual thing, if this is a real person who is acting this way toward you, that's your kind of biggest fear, is that you are going to let someone treat you that way and you are going to just adapt to it, right? And I don't think that's a way to go. So this is that kind of fear that you are just going to really accept anything. Whatever somebody gives to you, you're just going to joyfully accept it, right? Someone smites you on one cheek, you're going to offer them the other. But that's not what you really believe or want in your heart of hearts, in your soul of souls. And I think we need to balance that with this Emperor energy, right? You can be adaptable. You can be accepting and loving and nurturing and yielding. You can be this water energy. And you can also be this fiery energy, this confident, assertive, standing up for yourself, not letting people take advantage of you, but they need to be balanced and tempered. I wonder if this is going to be that temperance card, the art card. What we see finally is this Mercury energy. Okay, and this I think really is your cleverness. I think that you're going to find just the most kind of out-of-the-box way of dealing with situations like this, whether they're real or just something that you're kind of perceiving. Okay, and I don't know. I don't really care which way it is. What I care about is that you're going through this cycle, because I think it does repeat. I think you're going through this cycle consciously. And that is the consciousness of Mercury here. Mercury is very fluid. Can go from emperor to empress, right? Can go from being the pot of water to being the fire around it, okay? So this really is you taking control and developing this kind of mastery over your situation and over your evolution, because this isn't just about this one particular event with this one particular person. It's about the way this repeats for you and the way you handle it, right? What it does to you internally, emotionally, spiritually. So this is a really important energy to have. And I really think that with the coming of this Mercury energy, right, this magician, this magus, I think that you are going to, in some ways, take a little bit of delight in this whole process now. You know, now that you know that you kind of have the power to control your reality, or that even when you find yourself in this boiling pot, you're not worried because you're in control. You are a spiritual being who can influence material reality, right? You are one with everything, and it's almost like you develop the power to control your dreams, right? To have the lucid dreaming, right? To wake up in your dream and to be able to direct the course of that dream, right? But the difference is, it's not a dream, it's our physical, mundane life. So it's almost like you're waking up now to your own power, your own ability to fluidly pass between all of these different energies and remain at the end, remain unchanged. Because that's the thing about Mercury. It can go into combination with all sorts of different energies and elements, but it always remains Mercury at the end. Right? You may not recognize it at the time, but in the end, it's still just Mercury. Right? That's the beauty of Quicksilver, of Mercury. So I think this is really important. And now I'm wondering about that mystery card, because I feel like it should be some water energy now. We started with water, let's end with water, right? Let's end with this this knowing yourself, this new attitude that we see. Because I think with the coming of this Mercury energy, this is like awakening to this reality that you are in control. It's like a celebration, you know? It's like there's just joy and wonder now, even when you find yourself back in that boiling pot of water. It's different. It's a different feeling. So I think this is going to be some water energy. I think maybe a 6 of Cups. Could be something more foundational, like a 3 of Cups, right? Like the wellspring of that joy and this wonder and this sense of control, but this sense of being okay in any of these situations. It's almost like we're still this water energy from this Hanged Man that we began with, right? You can still adapt to any situation, but you know that it's not going to change you. It's not going to force you into something that is not really true to yourself, right? So there's a foundational aspect to it where you are always going to remain true to yourself, right? And that's what I think with maybe the 3 of Wands. I think 3 of Cups, to show that understanding, that knowledge of self, that you can go through all of these situations and you can remain unchanged, right, spiritually. right? You're going to evolve and grow, yes, but really who you are is something that doesn't change. I think Three of Cups. Well, interestingly, it's the Knight of Cups. So this is, in fact, better than the Three of Cups because this is the fiery aspect of the water, okay? So this is really one, it's showing the balance now between fire and water. That's something that we were looking for. But this is showing now this water element that is, again, with the Hanged Man, this is pure water. Now we've got the Knight on there. So we're moving that water according to our spirit, our will, using this fiery energy, right? So you're unchanged. You still are the water. But now you've got this sense of direction and control and power, confidence and assertiveness, following your will, right? So I think this is wonderful, and I'm happy that we have some good water energy here to finish things up. We're going to end it here. We're going to do an extended. If you want to stick around, click on the link that's right up here. You can have access to all of the extended readings. Okay, Gemini, this was your weekly reading for March 5th through 11th on Dove and Serpent Tarot.